One Piece mural has brought so many theories that it's impossible to cover them all. We've already uploaded several theories and analyses about the mural on the channel, but today I want to do something different. We're gonna talk about 5 mysteries in the mural that you haven't noticed, and we're gonna solve them. If you enjoy this type of video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to help us reach 3,000 subscribers and fulfill my dream. Now let's get started with the video. The mystery no one saw in the One Piece mural. Alright, let's talk about a detail in the One Piece mural that most people overlooked but doesn't make sense if you really think about it. Seriously, this is something that once you see it blows your mind because it simply doesn't fit with the story we've been told. The mural, which was revealed in chapter 1138, supposedly depicts an event from 800 years ago, meaning from the Void Century. So far so good, right? But if we take a closer look, there's a major problem. Why does Nika appear instead of Joy Boy? Yes, exactly. The mural should be representing an event from 800 years ago, and we all know that Joy Boy is from that era. Oda has confirmed it multiple times, and yet, what we see in the mural is Nika. But wait, it gets even stranger. Joy Boy and Nika seem to be 2 different figures. Oda has shown us Joy Boy at different moments, like in Vegapunk's discussion or Imu's flashback, and at no point does he carry a sword or a shield. But in the mural, Nika is holding a shield and a sword, just as he was previously depicted in Elbaf. So why is Nika in the mural and not Joy Boy? 2 possible explanations, and neither is reassuring. One, Oda messed up. Yes, it sounds odd, but it could be a simple drawing mistake. Maybe Oda meant to depict Joy Boy and accidentally included Nika instead. But realistically, this is unlikely. We're not talking about just any random sketch. This is one of the first visual details we've been given about the Void Century. This doesn't seem like the kind of mistake Oda would make in such a crucial moment of the story. 2. The mural is a deception. This is the most likely option. What if the mural is designed to mislead us? Maybe Oda put it there on purpose to make us think something that isn't actually true, as if he's telling us, don't trust what you see here, something doesn't add up. And what about the straw hat? This is where things get even stranger. Joy Boy has always been associated with a straw hat. In fact, in Imu's flashback, we see what appears to be his silhouette wearing the iconic hat. But in the mural, there's no sign of the straw hat. Could he be carrying it on his back, like Luffy sometimes does? There's no indication of that. The drawing doesn't show it anywhere. So why is it missing? It could be a simple omission, but considering how meticulous Oda is with these details, it makes us wonder if something deeper is happening here. The timeline problem. The strangest thing about all of this is that the mural clearly indicates that it represents an event from 800 years ago. We know this because it shows Imu, the character who coexisted with Joy Boy during that time. If Imu is in the mural, and we know they are from the Void Century, then this confirms that we're seeing something from that era, not another time period. So why is Nika there instead of Joy Boy? Logically, Nika should be something that comes after Joy Boy, not something from his era. It's as if the mural has been altered or is incomplete. Or worse, it's as if Oda is hiding something fundamental about the relationship between Joy Boy and Nika. Possible solutions to this mystery. Joy Boy was never an individual, but rather a title or a broader concept. Oda has given hints that Joy Boy may not have been just one person, but rather a lineage or an ideology passed down over time. Perhaps what we see in the mural is a reinterpretation of Joy Boy in the form of Nika, rather than his original version. Nika and Joy Boy are the same, but have different names. It's possible that Joy Boy was called Nika by some cultures and Joy Boy by others, similar to how historical figures can have different names depending on the era and context. However, the issue with this theory is that Oda has depicted Joy Boy and Nika as distinct figures. The mural was deliberately altered. This is something we can't rule out. If the mural is a historical record located in an important place, maybe someone modified it to confuse future generations. Could it have been the world government? Conclusion, something doesn't add up. This mystery is one of the strangest we've seen in One Piece. The mural is there, clearly showing what appears to be an event from the Void Century, but with a character who shouldn't be there at that time. If Joy Boy lived 800 years ago, why isn't he in the mural? And if Nika is there, then what happened to Joy Boy? The fact that there's no clear answer makes this mystery even more puzzling. Oda has left us with a puzzle piece that doesn't fit the rest of the story we know. This mural could be a key clue to something we still don't understand about the relationship between Joy Boy and Nika. Or perhaps it's a deliberate deception meant to make us believe something that isn't actually true. Either way, it's clear that something strange is going on here, and in the future, we're going to find out what this mural is really hiding? The four gods and the mystery of Imu. Who are they really? Alright, now it's time to dive into another major mystery left by the One Piece mural, the four gods. This is something that had already been mentioned in the series, but the mural has brought it back into the spotlight in a way that forces us to ask a very important question. What the hell is going on with Imu? Let's break it down step by step because this is about to get interesting. The four gods and their connection to Skypiea in the world of One Piece. We've heard about four legendary gods: the sun god, the forest god, the earth god, the sea god. This concept was introduced in Skypiea, though at the time we didn't give it much importance since it seemed like just another piece of world mythology. But now, with the mural, Oda is telling us, hey, this is important. The connection to the mural is obvious because it directly references these gods. And most importantly, we definitely know the identity of at least one of them. The sun god is Nika. This is confirmed. The Giants have mentioned it. It's been brought up multiple times in the series, and now the mural reinforces it. Nika is the sun god. So far, so good. But now comes the problem. Who the hell is Imu? For a long time, there have been theories about Imu's true identity, the figure that rules from the shadows in One Piece. Some believe they might be immortal, others thought they could be an ancient member of the ancient kingdom. But with this mural, things have become even stranger, because Imu seems to fit multiple of these gods at the same time. When Imu first appeared in the manga, they were in a room surrounded by plants, butterflies, and trees. This led many people to think they could be the forest god. But wait, there's more. If we analyze the name Imu and read it backward, we get Umi, which in Japanese means sea. Is Imu the sea god? Because if that's the case, then Oda has been dropping this clue since the beginning, and nobody noticed. But there's yet another possibility. In Skypiea, we saw a statue of Bert, the supposed earth god, and this statue looks incredibly similar to Imu's silhouette. So here comes the big question. Which of the gods is Imu? 3 options and no clear answer. The craziest part of all of this is that none of these options can be completely ruled out. What if Imu is all 4 gods at the same time? Now, here's where things get truly bizarre. If we look at everything Imu has done in the story, they don't seem to control just one thing. They seem to control everything. They rule the world from the shadows, decide who lives and who dies, seem to have access to weapons of mass destruction, and we haven't even seen their true power yet. So what if Oda is telling us that Imu isn't just one god, but represents all 4? Think about it. They have a connection to the forest. Their name suggests a connection to the sea. Their appearance links them to the earth god. And if they have a hidden power, they could be connected to the sun god as well. This would be a genius move by Oda. He has given us hints that Imu is each of the gods, but he hasn't confirmed any of them specifically. So what does all of this mean? If Imu is one of these gods, or all of them at once, this completely changes the history of One Piece. Because if you think about it, the great conflict of the past could have been a battle between Nika, the sun god, and the god who controlled everything, Imu. And here's the big question. Are the other 3 gods allies of Nika or of Imu? If Imu truly represents the sea, the earth, and the forest, then Joy Boy and his people were fighting against the gods of the world. But if that's not the case, then there are 3 other gods who haven't yet appeared in the story, and they might be Luffy's allies in the final battle. Conclusion: we're being deceived. One thing is clear, Oda has built a massive puzzle with this theme, and we still don't have the pieces to solve it. But there is one thing we can be sure of. Oda is playing with us. He has given us just enough information to suspect that Imu is a god, but he has left hints that they could be any of the remaining 3. So until he reveals the truth, all we can do is keep analyzing the clues and wait for the moment when Oda drops the big reveal. And when he does, it'll definitely be something no one saw coming. The mystery of the fire serpent. What does it really represent? Now, let's dive into one of the strangest details in the One Piece mural, one that has been mentioned but still doesn't have a clear answer. We're talking about the fire serpent. If you look closely at the mural, there's a gigantic serpent breathing fire at what seems to be either a giant or a bird. It's a striking scene, but what's curious is that it's not clear what it represents or what its true meaning is. Of course, the One Piece community has come up with tons of theories to explain explain what the hell this serpent is. Some are more logical, while others are completely wild. Here, we'll go over the 3 most important ones. Theory 1. The serpent is the fossilized red line. This theory has gained a lot of popularity. The idea is that the red line is not a natural formation, but the fossilized body of a gigantic creature that turned to stone over time. At first glance, it sounds spectacular. If you look at it, the red line is a massive rocky formation that divides the One Piece world into 4 seas. And we know that colossal creatures exist in this world, so it wouldn't be crazy to think that in the past, there was a being so huge that it formed a structure like the red line. The problem with this theory, there's evidence in the manga that contradicts it. When Nami analyzes the red line up close, she explains that it's not a single solid body, but a collection of islands fused together. Not only that, but each island has its own climate and magnetic field, something that wouldn't make sense if it were the fossil of a single creature. If the red line were a single fossilized body, it would logically have the same climate and properties throughout, but Nami confirms that this is not the case. So while the fossilized red line theory sounds amazing, it seems unlikely based on the information we have so far. Theory 2. The serpent represents Monkey D. Dragon. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Some fans have noticed that the serpent in the mural has markings on its body that look very similar to the scars on Dragon's face. If you look closely, the serpent has X-shaped marks on its sides, a detail that strongly resembles the tattoo that Dragon has on his face. This has led to the theory that Dragon has a mythical Zoan devil fruit that allows him to transform into a legendary serpent. We know that Dragon is a crucial figure in the story, but he's remained in the shadows for most of it. We also know that he almost certainly has a devil fruit, but Oda has never revealed what it is. Some people believe he has the Thunderbird fruit, a mythical creature that controls the weather. But if the fire serpent in the mural is related to him, then we might be looking at an entirely different type of mythical Zoan, something far greater and more dangerous than we imagined. This theory makes sense because Dragon is the leader of the Revolutionary Army, and at some point he will play a key role in the story. If his power is represented in a mural that depicts the Void Century conflict, that would mean Dragon is part of a struggle that has existed for centuries. Theory 3. The serpent is the egg from Roger's ship. This is a less popular theory, but some fans still support it. If you remember, Gul D. Roger's ship had a gigantic egg on board, and it was never explained. The idea here is that the egg contained a legendary creature that hatched at some point and might be the fire serpent in the mural. The interesting part about this theory is that we don't know what happened to that egg. Roger never explained what it was. The egg mysteriously disappeared after Roger reached Laugh Tale. If the mural is showing events from 800 years ago and this serpent was part of that battle, then it could mean that the creature inside Roger's egg is a reincarnation or modern version of this ancient entity. Does this theory make sense? It's hard to say. The biggest issue with this theory is that there's no concrete evidence that the egg on Roger's ship hatched, or that it's related to the Void Century at all. It's an interesting idea, but until Oda gives us more information, we can't confirm any real connection. So what is the fire serpent really? Right now, there's no clear answer. Oda has given us this image in the mural, but hasn't explained what it represents. What is clear though, is that this isn't just decoration. It's an important clue about the past of the One Piece world. If I had to bet on one of these theories, I'd lean toward the Dragon theory. Why? He is the only present-day character with a major connection to the world government. He seems to have a hidden power that hasn't been revealed yet. If the mural depicts a legendary creature resembling his mark, it could mean that Dragon is the modern reflection of something that existed 800 years ago. What does this mean for the future of the story? If the fire serpent is connected to Dragon, that would imply that he is far more important than we've imagined. He may not just be a revolutionary fighting against the world government. His very existence could be part of a cycle that has repeated for centuries. If this is true, Dragon could play a crucial role in the final battle of One Piece, facing off against Imu and revealing the true meaning of the fire serpent in the mural. For now, all we can do is wait for Oda to give us more pieces of the puzzle. But one thing is certain, that serpent is not there by accident, and when we finally discover its true identity, it will completely change the way we see the history of One Piece. The great absence in the mural. Where is Blackbeard, and what role will he play in the story? This is where things get truly interesting. So far we've talked about the gods, the fire serpent, the strange presence of Nika instead of Joy Boy. But there's something even stranger about this mural. Blackbeard is nowhere to be seen. And that's really weird, because if the mural depicts the most important battle in One Piece history, the War of the Void Century, and if we're seeing figures like Imu, Nika, and others, why is one of the most important characters in the series missing? At first glance, you might think that he simply has nothing to do with the past, but that explanation doesn't make sense narratively, and here's why. If Blackbeard isn't in the mural, it means he still has a major role to play throughout One Piece. Blackbeard has been presented as the ultimate villain of the series. From his introduction in Mocktown, to his betrayal of the Marines, to capturing Ace, to conquering Impel Down, to stealing Whitebeard's fruit, and most recently his plan to turn Hachinosu into an officially recognized nation, everything points to him building something massive. If Oda has spent so much time developing him, it's impossible that his story would just fade into the background. But there's something that makes this mystery even more intriguing. What if Blackbeard replaces Imu? This is the big theory, and it makes a lot of sense. Think about it carefully. The mural shows a battle from 800 years ago between the ancient kingdom and the world government. The logic tells us that in the present timeline, Luffy represents Joy Boy / Nika, while Imu is the modern equivalent of the Void Century's enemy. If that's the case, then what Oda is showing us is a conflict that is set to repeat in the present story. But here's where things take a turn. If the mural depicts a past event, that means the war of 800 years ago already had a resolution. If Oda simply repeats the same conflict with the same protagonists, it wouldn't have any narrative impact. The audience already knows how the first war ended, so watching the same thing happen again would be boring and predictable. So what if Oda throws in a major twist? What if Blackbeard kills Imu and takes their place? Blackbeard's grand plan, becoming king of the world. There's something most people haven't noticed, but it's crucial. For a long time, Blackbeard has been working in the shadows towards something much bigger than we think. We know he kidnapped Pudding, which means he's interested in the Three-Eyed Tribe's ability to read the poneglyphs. We know he wants to turn Hachinosu into an official nation, which suggests he's trying to infiltrate the world government system. And we also know that he is the only person in history who has been able to consume 2 devil fruits, meaning there is something about his body that makes him different from everyone else. All of this points to the idea that Blackbeard doesn't just want to be Pirate King. His true ambition is to become the king of the world. If Oda follows his usual narrative patterns, it's very likely that Blackbeard will face off against Imu and defeat them. Many people believe Imu will be Luffy's final enemy, but after analyzing the mural and what Oda has been building up, it makes way more sense that the real final villain is Blackbeard. Why? Because Blackbeard is the exact opposite of Luffy. Luffy represents freedom. He follows his own path and doesn't depend on anyone. Blackbeard is a master manipulator. He exploits the world's systems for his personal gain. And most importantly, Blackbeard breaks the rules of history. Since the beginning, Oda has established certain rules in the One Piece world. A person can only have 1 devil fruit. Blackbeard broke this rule. There was a battle 800 years ago, and history seems set to repeat itself. But what if Blackbeard breaks the cycle? If Blackbeard manages to kill Imu and take their place, then we wouldn't just be seeing a repeat of history. We'd be witnessing a completely new era of chaos, with a villain unlike anything we've seen before. One who has no loyalty to the past and rewrites history on his own terms. Conclusion: Blackbeard's biggest move is yet to come. If Blackbeard is missing from the mural, it's not because he's unimportant, it's because he hasn't stepped into his true role yet. Oda has been building him up for years, showing that he is unpredictable, cunning, and always 2 steps ahead. If this theory is correct, then Blackbeard's moment hasn't arrived yet. But when it does, it will change everything we thought we knew about the ending of One Piece. And when that moment comes, Luffy won't just have to face the world government, he will have to confront the greatest threat in pirate history. The great mystery of the Void Century. How the hell did Joy Boy lose? Alright, so far we've talked about a lot of weird things in the mural, from the absence of Joy Boy to the identity of the gods, the fire serpent, and Blackbeard's role. But now it's time to tackle the biggest mystery of all. How the hell did Joy Boy lose? Think about it. From what we know, Joy Boy was the leader of a massive alliance. He wasn't alone in his fight against the world government. He had all the races on his side: the giants of Elbaf, the samurai of Wano, the merfolk and fishmen, led by Poseidon, probably other ancient clans and tribes. tribes. On top of all that, they had advanced technology, ancient weapons, and knowledge of the Void Century. They had everything. They were the most powerful force in the world at the time, and yet they lost? Something doesn't add up. Was Imu alone, or did they have a super weapon? If we look at the mural, Imu doesn't seem to have an army. There aren't thousands of soldiers or fleets of ships around them. What we see is a lone figure holding something that looks like a sun. So if Imu didn't have a massive army, how did they defeat Joy Boy's entire alliance? The most logical answer is that they had a weapon of mass destruction, something capable of wiping out entire civilizations in a single shot. And yes, I'm talking about the same weapon we saw in the Lulusia incident. Imu's weapon, a more powerful version of the Lulusia attack. For those who don't remember, in recent chapters of One Piece, we saw Lulusia get completely erased from the map in seconds. The sky darkened, a strange glow appeared, and in an instant, Lulusia ceased to exist. What we saw wasn't a normal explosion, it was an attack of biblical proportions. Now, if Imu can do this in the present, imagine what they could have done 800 years ago when they had access to the original Void Century technology. Because we need to remember something crucial. The technology from before the Void Century seems to be far more advanced than what exists today. Vegapunk has stated that ancient knowledge surpasses modern science by a huge margin. That means that the weapon that destroyed Lulusia is probably just a weaker or incomplete version of the original. In other words, Imu might have had an even more powerful version of this weapon in the past. If this is true, then what happened in the Void Century was a mass extermination, a complete purge of Joy Boy's kingdom and his allies. A weapon like this would explain how Imu, without a visible army, could completely wipe out Joy Boy's civilization. Why didn't Imu use the weapon from the start? This raises another huge question. If Imu had this weapon, why wasn't Joy Boy defeated instantly? If we look at what happened in Lulusia, the attack was immediate. There wasn't even a major battle, just one shot and it was over. If Imu's weapon was that powerful, why was there even a war? Here are some possible explanations. 1. The weapon wasn't ready at first. Maybe Imu and their allies needed time to activate the weapon or figure out how to use it at full power. Maybe the war lasted a long time because the weapon wasn't fully operational at the start. 2. The ancient kingdom had a shield or defense system. It's possible that Joy Boy's civilization had a way to counter the weapon at first, a type of protection system or a method to neutralize the energy of the attack. But over time, that defense was broken or destroyed. 3. The weapon had a massive cost. Maybe Imu's weapon couldn't be used repeatedly. Perhaps it requires an enormous amount of energy or has time limitations. This would explain why it wasn't used constantly throughout history. Either way, what's clear is that when it was finally used, the result was catastrophic. Could this happen again in the present story? Here's where things get really interesting. If the Void Century War ended with this weapon, what does that tell us about the future of One Piece? It suggests that Oda is setting the stage for history to repeat itself, but with a twist. It's very likely that at some point, Imu will try to use the weapon again to eliminate Luffy and his allies. And here's a brutal possibility. What if Imu tries to use the weapon on Elbaf? Think about it. Elbaf is the most powerful nation in the world. The giants are now siding with Luffy. If the world government wants to make a statement, Elbaf is the perfect target. If Imu uses the weapon against Elbaf, we could see a Lulusia level event, but on a much bigger scale. This wouldn't just raise the stakes for the final war, it would give the giants a massive reason to fully commit to fighting the world government. Conclusion: the final battle will depend on who controls this weapon. After everything we've analyzed, it's clear that this weapon of mass destruction holds the key to both the Void Century and the final battle of One Piece. If Joy Boy lost, it wasn't because he lacked strength or allies. It was because Imu had an absurdly powerful weapon that not even an entire army could stop. And if history is about to repeat itself, then the real question isn't whether Luffy can beat Imu in a fight. It's whether he can prevent this weapon from being used again. Because if he fails, the fate of the current era could be the same as the Void Century. So now, it all comes down to this. Can Luffy and his allies break the cycle and change history? Or will they witness another mass extinction? Oda has the answer in the upcoming chapters. But one thing is certain, when we finally learn the truth about this weapon, the entire history of One Piece will change forever. And that's it for the 5 mysteries of the mural and the theories behind them. If you have any other mysteries or theories related to this topic, leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to help us reach 3,000 subscribers and fulfill my dream. A big hug, and I'll see you in the next video.